Well, signing day might not have gone maybe exactly how Tennessee fans would have liked to have scripted it. Only one big announcement today, and that came from Antonio Richardson, the offensive tackle out of Nashville, who ended up going with the Vols, one of the top players available in the country and one of the #1 players in the state. So it was obviously a huge get for Tennessee. But other players such as linebacker Lamar Dawson ended up going to USC out with Lane Kiffin. Gabe Wright, the defensive tackle out of Columbus, Georgia, he ended up choosing Auburn. And then Timmy Jernigan, the defensive tackle out of Florida, ended up staying close to home and going to Florida State. So one for 4 on the big major targets for the Vols today. But that doesn't underscore how the Vols really finished with this recruiting class. It really all got started on Monday night when Byron Moore, the defensive back out of a JUCO in Los Angeles, 4-star player, ended up picking Tennessee over Miami. A few hours later, Cameron Clear, a tight end / offensive tackle out of Memphis, he chose the Volunteers over Alabama. And then later that night, an outside linebacker or maybe a weak side defensive end, Kirk Magid, he ended up picking the Vols over Florida. So that was 4 4-star players within about a 48-hour span that ended up going with Tennessee. So in the past 2 years, Derek Dooley has proven that the trademark of his class is he ends up closing out big. Remember last year, Derrick Rogers and Justin Hunter, big late additions to the class, and they end up being major contributors. But if you look at this class as a whole, 27 commitments out of a possible 29 they could have signed. 26 of those 27 can be on scholarship for next season, so they have some room in the summer. Maybe one of these guys doesn't qualify, maybe one gray shirts. We'll see what happens right now. But a lot of the work was done, obviously, well before signing day. Derek Dooley put this class in good shape, getting early commitments from players such as Pat Martin, D'Anthony Arnett, Maurice Couch, 4- and 5-star kind of guys to just kind of pave the way and set up a good, strong finish. So as with all recruiting classes, we'll be able to see how beneficial this one was down the road when these players actually get on the field. But right now it's looking like Rivals and Scout both have the Vols hovering around the top 10, and we'll see how they end up finishing later off today with more numerous signings across the country.